It was always in UFO folklore that's where they had the crash discs. And then the Bob Lazar thing, that was in like 89 when he came out and said he worked there.
Right.
Which is still today my favorite one. That's the one I want to be real.
Yeah.
Out of all the ones I want to be real, the Bob Lazar story, it's number one on the list.
Yeah, I mean, is he still alive?
Yep. Yeah. He runs United Nuclear. It's like some sort of research company.
Huh.
They sell chemicals and shit. He does a bunch of different things. But while he was filming the documentary about him, he got raided by the FBI. The FBI raided it because apparently they think that he might have a sample of this element that's used to power the spaceship, because he was working on the propulsion system. And that was what his job was, to back engineer whatever this thing was. And he said this thing revolved. It was about this reactor that they had in the center of the craft that used this element called 115, which is a new element. And that if you bombard this element with radiation, it does something to distort gravity.
Right.
And so they had this thing in the center of the craft, and they knew it worked, but they didn't know how it worked. And so they were trying to get these scientists, and they'd bring in new scientists. Like, let's try some new guys. Let's try this guy. And so they get this dude who was a young, crazy person who was working out of Los Alamos Labs. He put a fucking jet engine in a Honda. I mean, he was a maniac.
Right.
And they got this guy, and they flew him out, and they said, here it is. Tell us what it is. And he's like, what the fuck? And when he first saw it, his reaction was, oh, this is ours. That's why people keep seeing these flying saucers. It even had an American flag sticker on it. He's like, oh, this is ours. Oh, that makes sense. Well, now, okay. And then he realized along the way, no. This is impossible. It doesn't have any seams. It's like it's 3D printed.
Right.
And it's designed for tiny people, like something that's like 3 feet tall. It doesn't have any controls, but somehow or another it works. Somehow or another it moves, and they can lift it up and they can do stuff with it. What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And so supposedly when he took off, he got a piece of this 115 when they fired him. The reason they fired him, do you know that story?
No.
It's nuts. His wife was having an affair.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because he couldn't tell her that he was working at Area 51. So she assumed he was fucking around. All their phones are tapped. Everything's tapped. Because if you have that kind of top secret clearance, they have to be able to listen to all your phone calls. So while he's flying, it's 11 p.m. They're calling me to work. What? And he has to get on a plane. He can't tell her where he's going. And she's like, fuck this marriage. And so she starts banging her instructor, like a flight instructor. And so they don't tell him that this is why he's getting fired. But the emotional turmoil in his life, because his wife is clearly having an affair on him, he can't have top secret clearance anymore. So now he has to go back. So now he's like, what the fuck happened? So he takes his friends. He takes his friends. He's like, on Wednesday night, they pilot these fucking things. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to show you this so you know I'm not fucking crazy. Right. And they all observe these things hovering and moving around. And then he gets arrested. He gets caught doing it. And so then he's like, I got to go public. And so then he gets a hold of George Knapp, and he tells George Knapp his whole story. And he's like, I was working at this place, and they're back engineering spaceships from another fucking planet. It's nuts. He said the same story exactly for 30 whatever years. It's fucking bananas.
That's amazing.
Yeah, your interviews with him are amazing.
I want it to be true so bad.
I do too.
It's a problem, though, right?
Yeah.
Because, well, you've seen something, though.
Nothing like that, but yeah, it was something. It was something. But it wasn't technical. I didn't see something that was like so mind-blowingly. I mean, it seems like it would be totally plausible that what I saw existed. It just was quiet. That was the only thing that was odd about it.
That's odd, though.
No
Something
sound.
can move in the sky that's quiet. It doesn't make any sense.
Zero sound.
That doesn't make any sense, especially if it's close enough for you to see it. It doesn't make any sense. Also, the way they move, like, what can move like that other than a drone? Drones move like that, but powered by what? That's what I think the Bob Lazar stuff that he's talking about, I think that's a propulsion system that they've been working on forever. They had theorized the idea of some sort of a gravity propulsion system, something that does something to gravity that allows it to move through things very quickly. They thought about that in like the 1950s. That was theorized.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't they say the only way that you could actually like traverse the universe is by skipping through different dimensions? Right? So would that type of engine that's manipulating gravity be able to do something like that?
The idea behind it, the way he described it, Lazar described it, is if you thought of space as like your mattress, like a really soft, cushy mattress, and you drop like a giant lead ball in the middle of that mattress, and everything would just go, it would just get sucked in. He goes, that's what it's doing. It's a very simplified version of what it's doing, but it's doing something to the gravity that allows it to move in a way that we don't understand yet.
Right.
We're just, but this thing, this element 115, it was just completely theoretical until there was a large one of the particle colliders detected it. They detected it for just like a very brief moment when they do those things.
Right.
And they said, okay, it's a real element. And what Bob Lazar is saying that this element is a stable element that these beings have. And when they use this stable element. So we can imagine a world where the properties are very different than ours. And they might have this element. It might be just a natural part of their environment for some reason.
Or just some isotope.
Yeah, or they've developed it. Maybe the one that they detected with a collider, maybe they figured out how to make it.